Netanyahu in a recent interview basically admits on accident that Israel's aggression in Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, and Iran, and all across the Middle East has nothing to do with Israel's rights to defend itself, but their goal of ultimately achieving the Greater Israel Project. Benjamin Milikowski, Netanyahu, I guess, in a recent interview said that he's on a historic and spiritual mission, and he feels very attached to the vision of a Greater Israel.
מה אנחנו עושים כאן? אנחנו כאן בשליחות של דורות. יש דורות של יהודים שחלמו שנגיע לכאן, ויש דורות של יהודים שיבואו אחרינו. אז אתה שואל אם אני מרגיש שאני בשליחות היסטורית ורוחנית, התשובה היא כן.
אני לא רוצה לסבך אותך לסיום עם תיק 6000, אבל...
מה זה?
זה הוויז'ן שלי, זה אחד הדברים שחלמתי עליהם, מפת הארץ המובטחת.
יפה.
הגיע הזמן, קוראים לזה ירושלם. אני לא נותן את זה לך, אני מעניק את זה לך כדי שתיתן את זה לרעתך שרה.
תודה רבה.
אתה מתחבר לחזון?
מאוד.
באמת?
מאוד.
בישראל השלמה.
First of all, I'm not gonna lie to you. The last time I heard somebody was on a spiritual mission like that was George W. Bush. And we all saw how that turned out, but I digress. Now, the Greater Israel Project is this concept rooted in the religious interpretation of the Bible, where they believe Israel stretches from the quote-unquote river of Egypt to the Euphrates. Now, in contemporary terms, that would mean Israel would control all of Israel, all of Palestine, parts of Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Egypt, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia. As you've probably noticed, almost all of the countries on that list have been attacked by Israel, occupied by Israel, or work for Israel, either directly or indirectly. In the case of Jordan, for example, they helped to repel the missile attacks from Iran to Israel when Iran retaliated for Israel attacking their generals in Syria. Or in the case of Syria, at the moment, Jolani is actively assisting Israel in achieving its goals of conquering Syria by basically allowing Israel to occupy whichever part of Syria they see fit to without any type of military pushback. And of course, this was after Israel participated in the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad, who would of course never engage in any assistance of Israel achieving this Greater Israel Project. But it's important to observe what the Greater Israel Project means and what Netanyahu's goals have always been since and even before October 7th took place. Without going into much of the details, we know now that Israel was aware October 7th was going to happen, and they did basically nothing to stop it. The Israeli government was warned in advance, ladies and gentlemen, that they needed to move that rave because that area would be attacked. Not only did they not move the location, but the IDF didn't show up until hours after the attacks were reported. We know that despite the fact the families of these hostages are begging Netanyahu to end the war and the offensive in Palestine, he's refusing to listen to them. We know that shortly after October 7th, out of nowhere, Israel decided to start attacking Lebanon. They began to bombard Syria once again and ultimately helped to overthrow Assad and install a literal terrorist that is basically bending to the will of Netanyahu. We know that the one country in the Middle East that could actually wipe Israel off the map, in Iran, has been constantly perturbed and attacked by Israel, as if Israel is consciously aware that if they want to achieve the Greater Israel Project, well, they have to get rid of Iran, because Iran ain't letting it go down like that. So they attack Iran unprovoked on a regular basis. We know that despite the fact that there is no Hamas in the West Bank, attacks in Hamas ramped up after October 7th, despite the fact the West Bank had nothing to do with that. And they admitted that they plan on annexing the entirety of the West Bank for absolutely no reason at all, without any justification. So although this would technically be speculative, the evidence points to the fact that Netanyahu likely allowed October 7th to go down the way it did so that Israel could play victim, thereby getting the support and the finances to execute his Greater Israel project. And I know some people would say, would he really let Israelis die just to achieve a project for Greater Israel? Sir, ma'am, I need you to kindly refer to the Hannibal Directive. Allowing Israelis to die indirectly, being responsible for the deaths of those Israelis, is literally an Israeli policy. Not to mention the other day, Netanyahu said he's planning the full conquest of Gaza, despite the fact that he is fully aware that that will likely lead to the deaths of the rest of the Israeli hostages being held there. And that's likely because there is no Greater Israel project without the complete conquest of Gaza. So it's like we've been saying from the very beginning. This has nothing to do with Israel's quote-unquote right to defend itself or quote-unquote right to exist. The genocide in Gaza and all the events that took place after have been used as an excuse to set the stage for global domination on behalf of Israel. Domination in which other countries not only not hold them accountable, but actively finance and cheer on. Welcome to the Greater Israel Project.